with Bless Austin. So what went into that?
Very appreciative towards Bless. He's a good young man. With the youth that we have at corner and the competitive, the competition that they've all been able to provide and the growth that they've all been able to have since OTAs and training camp, we're going to give those guys a run and give them an opportunity to compete over this last week and a half and roll with those guys.
Who gets first crack at that job?
That's to be determined.
Would it be fair? I mean, is it Brandon Eccles done in the mix?
It could be, yeah. You can talk about all four of them in terms of Brandon Eccles. You've got Pinnock, obviously, Dunn, and Goodry.
I remember we had talked to you during camp, and you had mentioned how you want to have basically three corners, though, with looping in the guy in the nickel slot spot. So is there a point where you do need to say, like, okay, this is my guy outside, or do you know who the guy is outside, just kind of keeping it under wraps?
We're good waiting to the last minute. We kind of have an idea of where it's going to go, but at the same time, it's with that corner spot, it's about confidence. It's about being in a rhythm and all that stuff, and so just giving those guys a chance to compete. And it's not pressing. That one I'll leave for Joe with regards to his 5 o'clock meeting. I know he'll be able to talk about the roster and all that stuff, but it's a numbers game. So.
Are you concerned at all about the inexperience there? I mean, I know you said you're going to roll with the young guys, but it's a very young group.
It is a young group, and it's the same thing, the same thought throughout the roster. I mean, we're probably going to have 8 rookies starting or being major contributors on this team, 9 if you include the kicker. So it's challenge accepted in terms of this coaching staff is excited to get their hands on them, and you're going to see tremendous growth as the year goes on.
Have you decided which of your injured players you guys are going to put on the injured reserve with the intent of bringing back?
That'll be more for Joe. They're working through all that stuff.
Robert, why did you guys decide to trade Herndon?
Again, with obviously you guys see the puzzle pieces with regards to there's going to be tight ends brought in. Joe's working through all of that stuff. An opportunity presented itself, and Joe was quick to take advantage of it. I thought, again, Joe's process is phenomenal, and thought he did a really nice job over the last couple of days.
Did Croft just beat him out?
Say it again.
Did Tyler Croft just beat him out?
I don't know if beat him out is the word, because they all kind of have a specific role with regards to the offense. But like I said, Joe, there was an opportunity, and Joe took advantage of it. And obviously, he's got a lot of things working. I'll let him go through it at 5.
With when you mentioned tight ends being brought in, would you guys consider trading for one?
That's a question for Joe.
Robert, how do you feel when guys that you release get picked up off waivers by other teams there?
Let's say that one more time. I'm sorry.
How do you feel when guys that you let go get picked up on waivers by other teams?
Oh, man. We had Elijah Campbell picked up by Miami, I believe. He's a good young man. It just, it goes back. You invest a lot in these young men, and you want to see him succeed, but you want to see him succeed in your colors. And so I wish him the best of luck. Wish all of them, whoever gets claimed, the absolute best of luck. And but it's never easy because you feel like like all that time is gone. But it's not gone because you get to see them go excel.
How many players do you have for practice today? Because I'm guessing the practice squad is still formulating.
Yeah, so we'll have a normal squad. There's going to be plus or minus 1 or 2, but we pushed everything back an hour just to be able to work through all of that. So to tell you exactly how many numbers, that they're still working through all that.
You guys were awarded Quincy and Tim off of the waiver wire. Can you just go through what those 2 guys bring specifically and how you'd like to use them?
Yeah. So starting with Quincy, we had just remembering him through the draft, and obviously he was in Jacksonville where they were running a very similar system to ours his first 2 years. He's got, he is Quinnen's brother. He's got a tremendous amount of length for his size, and he's extremely fast and violent. And to get him back into the system, we just, he's been injured in his first couple of years with little minor stuff, but to get him in the system where we feel like he belongs, we're excited about the possibility that and the growth that we can see out of him. Tim, when you watch his tape, we were watching it yesterday. I was like, he's got freakish ability. He's long, he's big, he's got great bend, he's got tremendous lower half, and so it's just a matter of getting him into our wide nine, our style of play, and see if we can take the harness off him and see what happens. So.
Robert, it's unusual in the NFL for teams to go into the season with no experience at quarterback. And so with Wilson and White, you're obviously in that situation. What gives you the confidence to go that way?
You know, it's we always talk about things you got control over. What we got control over is to coach our tails off with Zach and Mike and all our faith in them and having the ability to execute at a high level when being called upon. So it's, you know, that's forcing an issue just to force an issue. I've talked about it before, isn't always the answer either. And especially when Mike is deserving of that number 2 spot and what he's been able to do. So, you know, like I said, I operate in the world of faith, and I trust that good things are going to happen. So,
the Packers week, I remember, you know, Bless missed the game because of personal reasons. Did that have any factor into him being released now?
No. You know, if you looked at the initial roster, it had 8 corners. Normally don't keep 8 corners. And there was, which meant there was deficiencies elsewhere. And when we were looking at it, you know, those young guys, they have such tremendous value, and there's so much growth that they can all experience. I mean, they all have potential to be high-end starters in this league, and it was just one of those. Like I said, it all comes back to being a numbers game.
Take a couple more.
Robert, this is obviously a young football team, which you've mentioned too, and you've kind of said there's going to be the ebbs and flows of dealing with a young football team, but this is a fan base that really hasn't seen success since 2015 in the playoffs and even longer than that. So how do you balance the people that are coming to watch this team wanting to see wins and wanting to see success for the first time in a long time, but also having a young team that's going to be developing and you know, take some punches throughout the year?
You know, it's appreciated. Obviously, we embrace the urgency at which everybody wants to win, but at the same time, that can affect your decision making for the long haul of a goal of winning championships for extended periods of time. That urgency in the past has led to spurts of success and lengths of failure, and we're trying to get that reversed to where we have long runs of success. And so while it's the fan base and all that stuff is greatly appreciated and we want that strain, at the same time it's not something that's going to push us to making a mistake that affects the longevity of this organization.
So do you expect short-term pain this year for long-term gain?
No, not necessarily. I mean, it's you know, there's a lot of similarities. I'll let you guys search it out in terms of teams that have gone the direction that we have and have had success. But there's always, with rookies, and a young team, there's going to be growth because there's going to be so many aha moments. But what you'll see is a group of young men that play their absolute tails off. They'll run, they'll hit, and they'll be excited to play this game.
Robert, every team wants to get off to a quick start, but is it especially important for you guys to have some early success, just so you can kind of reinforce your program? You have all these young guys. Would it be meaningful for you guys to, you know, more meaningful than other teams to get off to a quick start?
No, you know what? It's when confidence is contagious, right? So I think it applies to even a veteran. Like, it's when you have initial success and you get that confidence. I mean, it gets contagious, right? I mean, you see it all the time. The teams that win the last 3 or 4 games at the end of the regular season are hot and they ride that momentum like Tampa did last year. No one at midseason would have thought they were going to win a Super Bowl, and you just get hot and you roll. And it's the same thing. That confidence starts to build. You think you're invincible. I mean, 2017 in San Fran, we started 0-9, lost 7 games by 3 points or less or something like that, and then we won our last 5 games of the year. Like, well, how does that happen? You win one, Jimmy Garoppolo steps in, and then you get confidence and everyone's excited, and then you overwhelm people with juice. And it's just, it's the same thing. And whether you're a veteran team or a young team, success breeds confidence. Confidence breeds more success. So,
Man, obviously, you know, you had like about 12 undrafted free agents that came in after the draft, and only one made the roster. So overall, from your perspective, how tough is it for undrafted free agents to actually make the initial 53-man roster?
I think it's always tough. You know, it's because you're always behind the 8 ball, right? You're undrafted, so you have to prove it more than benefit of the doubt. And you know, it's It's not easy, but it's not impossible. There are some of the undrafted free agents that are hopefully get back to this practice squad, and so their ride's not over. They're going to have a chance to continue to grow in their role, and who knows, they'll be able to see the field. But like I said, right now it is tough, but it doesn't mean it's impossible.
Okay, thanks, guys.
All right, thanks everybody.